"You have brought abomination into my house," he thundered, his voice rattling the window panes. "After all my prayers, all my sacrifices, this is how you repay me? You have followed the world and allowed a worthless boy to ruin you." Dinma stood before him, tears streaming down her face, trying to explain, to plead. But he saw only his own reflection in her shame, his reputation as a deacon, his authority as a principal, all crumbling to dust. "There is only one way to cleanse this house of this filth," he said, his voice dropping to a dangerously cold calm. "You will get rid of that thing. You will not bring a bastard child into my home." "No," Dinma whispered, a single word of defiance born from a fierce primal instinct to protect the life inside her. "I won't." Her father's eyes hardened into chips of granite. "Then you are no longer my daughter. This house is for righteous children, not for harlots. Pack your things. Leave." He turned his back on her, a final, unyielding dismissal. Her mother wept silently, powerless against her husband's decree. That evening, with a small bag containing a few clothes, her precious notebook of recipes, and the crushing weight of her father's curse, Chidinma walked out of the only home she had ever known and into the unforgiving embrace of the Lagos night. The streets of Lagos at night are a different beast. The vibrant hustle of the day gives way to a raw, predatory energy. For 2 days, Dinma drifted, a ghost in a city of millions. She slept on the hard bench of a bus stop, clutching her bag, her hunger a dull ache overshadowed by the sharper pain of rejection. On the 3rd day, drawn by the distant promise of cheap food, she found herself in the chaotic heart of Yaba Market. It was there, huddled near a stall to escape a sudden downpour, that a voice cut through her misery. "My dear, you can't stay in the rain like this. You will fall sick." The voice belonged to a woman with kind eyes and hands stained with hair dye. She was Auntie Folake, the owner of a small bustling salon tucked between a fabric shop and a food vendor. The salon, named Folake's Touch, was a symphony of noise, the buzz of hairdryers, the chatter of women, the sizzle of hot combs. It was life, loud and unapologetic. Seeing the raw despair on Dinma's face, Auntie Folake's heart softened. She listened to a heavily edited version of Dinma's story, nodding with a sad understanding that required no further details. That night, she cleared out a small, cramped storeroom filled with weaves and relaxer kits. "It's not much," she said, pointing to a thin mattress on the floor. "But it is safe, and it is dry." To earn her keep, Dinma began to help around the salon, sweeping floors, washing hair, running errands. One afternoon, a customer preparing for a wedding was let down by her makeup artist. Seeing Dinma's hesitant but knowledgeable gaze, Auntie Folake pushed her forward. "My girl here knows a thing or two." With trembling hands, Dinma picked up the brushes. As she worked, a quiet confidence settled over her. She blended, contoured, and highlighted, her hands moving with an innate grace. When she finished, the bride-to-be stared at her reflection, speechless. She looked like herself, but elevated, radiant. Words spread through the salon like wildfire. Soon, the girl in the back became a sought-after secret. Women would come for a weave and leave with a flawless face, their confidence soaring. Dinma wasn't just applying makeup, she was performing small acts of magic, reminding each woman of the beauty they already possessed. Months later, in a small local clinic with Auntie Folake holding her hand, Chidinma gave birth to a beautiful, healthy baby girl. As she held the tiny, perfect child in her arms, she felt a love so fierce and absolute it eclipsed all the pain that had come before. She named her Zoe, which meant life. Holding Zoe, Dinma felt a new fire ignite within her. This wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about building a future. She pulled out her grandmother's old notebook. In the quiet hours of the night, while Zoe slept, she began to experiment, mixing shea butter from the market with hibiscus oil and other local ingredients. She perfected a soft, creamy balm that melted into the skin, soothing irritations and leaving behind a subtle, healthy glow. She packaged it in a simple, clean tin. On a small handwritten label, she wrote its name, Zoe's Glow. Zoe's Glow began as a humble offering on a small tray beside Dinma's makeup station in the salon. She'd use it to prep her clients' skin, and they would inevitably ask what that magical, sweet-smelling balm was. She would sell a tin for a few hundred naira. It always sold out. "You need to think bigger, my dear," Auntie Folake advised one evening, watching Dinma count her modest earnings. "This thing you have made, it is special. The world needs to see it, not just Yaba market." With Auntie Folake's encouragement, Dinma took a leap of faith. She used her savings to buy a cheap smartphone and created an Instagram account at Zoe's Glow Ing. Her posts were raw and authentic. She didn't have a fancy studio. Her backdrop was the vibrant chaos of the salon. She posted stunning before and after photos of her clients, their faces beaming. She recorded short, simple tutorials on her phone, showing how to use the balm to achieve a natural, dewy look. She didn't hide her reality. She shared snippets of her life, rocking Zoe on her back while mixing a fresh batch of product. Her followers saw not just a brand, but a story, a young mother, a hustler, a true artist. The page grew steadily, then explosively. One day, a major Lagos beauty blogger, intrigued by the buzz, bought a tin. She featured it in her Instagram stories, raving about its authenticity and a glow that no international brand could replicate. The effect was instantaneous. Dinma's phone began to buzz incessantly with notifications. Orders flooded her DMs from Lagos, Abuja, Port Harcourt, even from Nigerians abroad. She was overwhelmed. Auntie Folake, seeing the tidal wave coming, stepped up. She stopped taking hair appointments and became Dinma's unofficial business manager, organizing orders, responding to inquiries, and managing the logistics. They moved out of the salon storeroom and into a small two-bedroom flat. One room was for them, the other was a dedicated production space. Dinma invested everything back into the business, designing professional packaging and developing a full line of products, a black soap and turmeric face wash, a rosewater toning mist, all centered around natural, locally sourced ingredients. Within 3 years, Zoe's Glow was no longer a market secret. It was one of Nigeria's hottest indie beauty brands, celebrated for its quality and its inspiring backstory. Chidinma Ease, the girl cast out for bringing shame to her family, was now the celebrated CEO of a company that empowered women to shine. Success brought a new kind of visibility. Dinma was featured in magazines and on popular blogs. She was hailed as a symbol of resilience and modern Nigerian entrepreneurship. Her story was her brand, and it was powerful. One day, an email landed in her inbox that made her heart stop. It was from the producers of a new high-profile reality TV show, Naija Beauty Star, sponsored by a major telecommunications company. They were looking for the country's next great makeup artist, and they wanted her, Chidinma Ease, to be a celebrity judge. The opportunity was massive, a chance to elevate her brand to a whole new level. After discussing it with Auntie Folake, she accepted. The day of the official press conference arrived. Dinma walked in feeling confident and powerful, dressed in a sharp, elegant suit from a Nigerian designer. She took her seat on the panel, smiling for the cameras. And then, the show's host was introduced. He walked onto the stage, polished and confident, his smile radiating a practiced charm. It was Michael. Time seemed to slow down. The roar of the press faded to a dull hum in Chidinma's ears. He was older, his face leaner, but it was him. The boy who had whispered promises and then vanished. He hadn't recognized her yet. To him, she was just another successful businesswoman on the panel. The host began his introductions. And sitting next to me, a woman who needs no introduction, the visionary founder of Zoe's Glow, the incredible Chidinma Ease. As he said her name, Michael turned to her, his professional smile ready. His eyes met hers. The smile froze on his face. Recognition dawned, followed by a wave of pure, unadulterated panic. The blood drained from his face. For a split second, the charming host was gone, replaced by the scared boy who had abandoned her. But the cameras were rolling. The press was watching. Trapped, he had no choice but to extend a trembling hand. "A pleasure to have you," he managed to say, his voice barely a whisper. Chidinma looked at his hand, then met his terrified gaze. With a calm, unreadable expression, she shook it firmly. "The pleasure is all mine, Michael," she said, her voice clear and steady. The show had to go on. And for the next several weeks, they were locked in a tense professional dance, with the ghosts of their past swirling between them. The grand finale of Niger Beauty Star was a spectacle, broadcast live to millions across the country. The studio audience buzzed with anticipation. The final two contestants stood nervously on stage, their fate hanging in the balance. The final challenge had been to create a makeup look that told their authentic story. After the contestants presented their powerful work, the co-host, a bubbly media personality, turned to the judges for their final thoughts. "Chidinma," she said, her voice warm, "you are the definition of an authentic story. Your journey has inspired millions. Before we announce the winner, could you share with us what you believe is the true meaning of beauty, the story behind your own incredible success?" A hush fell over the studio. All eyes were on Chidinma. Michael, standing beside the host, looked like a man awaiting a verdict. Chidinma took a deep breath, a small knowing smile playing on her lips. She looked directly into the main camera, speaking not just to the audience, but to every young girl watching at home who had ever been made to feel small. "Thank you," she began, her voice rich with a quiet power. "I believe true beauty isn't about having a perfect face or a perfect life. It's about resilience. It's about finding the strength to stand up when the world tries to knock you down." She told her story, not with bitterness, but with grace. She spoke of a young girl with a big dream, who loved her family but was told her passion was foolishness. She spoke of falling in love, of a painful betrayal that left her alone and scared, and of a father's choice that forced her onto the streets. "I learned very quickly," she continued, her gaze shifting subtly towards Michael, "that some people's promises are empty. They will build you up only to protect themselves when things get difficult. They will leave you in the dark and pretend you never existed." She paused, letting the weight of her words settle. "But in that darkness, I found my light. I found it in the kindness of a stranger who gave me shelter. And I found it in the eyes of my daughter Zoe. She became my reason. She is my life, my glow." "So my authentic story is this," she concluded, her voice ringing with clarity. "True beauty isn't something you can fake. Your real legacy isn't the story you tell people, it's the one you actually live. It's about owning your choices, forgiving those who need it, and building something positive from your truth. She never said his name. She didn't have to. The camera cut to Michael's face for a reaction. He was pale, his carefully constructed composure shattered. On social media, the explosion was immediate. Viewers connected the dots, and his name began to trend for all the wrong reasons. His carefully crafted public image was annihilated in an instant. Back in Acadia, Mr. Ease watched his daughter on the television, his body racked with sobs of regret. For years, he had lived with the hollow ache of his pride. Seeing the strong, graceful woman she had become, he finally understood the magnitude of his failure. That night, he made the call he should have made years ago. The conversation was not easy. Forgiveness wasn't a simple gift to be given, but a slow, fragile bridge to be built. But it was a start. A month later, Chidinma launched the Zoe's Glow Foundation, offering grants and mentorship to young single mothers who wanted to start their own businesses. She stood at the podium, her daughter Zoe by her side, a living testament to the fact that sometimes, the most beautiful life is the one you build from the broken pieces. Comment down below if you would love to see a part 2. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more interesting stories.